Will Arc Raiders. Glitches everywhere, game's broken, no endgame, rewards streamers are ruining it, no one's friendly anymore. Maybe it will, but to find out, we need to look at how it succeeded, what went wrong, and Embark's role in all of this. Now, all of this might seem a bit dramatic, but I think it's allowed to be. There are many instances of games that have a huge amount of hype up to their release, but shortly after, there's a pretty sudden decline that happens as a result of continued mismanagement and players' disillusionment with the game as a whole. Everything from New World, Anthem, Battlefield 2042, and even single-player games like No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk 2077. Though I do not claim all of these games to be on the same level of egregiousness, I think it's clear to see a certain trend common throughout all of them. Which is that certain pivotal decisions got screwed up, making the game not worth playing for most people. Okay then, well, who am I to even talk about this in the first place? So many YouTubers fill the algorithm with half-assed videos of games they've barely played themselves. This is also the case with Arc Raiders.
Arc Raiders.
And it's time to talk the talk.
I don't know how many videos I've seen of people trying to talk about the game positively or negatively, but just lack basic knowledge of the game itself, when in reality they got no clue about it, haven't even found Scrappy's dog collar yet, or tried running so many free loadouts in a row on Stellamantis that they actually lose their mind. I've on the other hand have actually played this game a lot, maybe even too much. I first got my fingers on it back when the server slam was happening, and when that ended, I basically couldn't think of anything else but Arc Raiders up to the release. When the game finally came out, I spent so many hours on it the first few weeks, I reached max level only 2 weeks after playing. Oh, and I know there's gonna be some goblin in the comments going, oh my god, you think 2 weeks is short? Yes, I do. Because I actually sleep on occasion, okay? So you can't compare me to your basement-dwelling, G-fuel-filled veins goblino ass, okay? But either way, this is to show you guys that I do actually play the game, and I'm not just some random fool with a mic talking about a game I have no clue about. Well, I might be a bit dumb, but still, I managed to gather enough information from playing and being a part of the community to be able to give a pretty confident answer to if the game will manage to fix and avoid the problems it's facing and survive into the future. So let's start by going back to the beginning. Unlike many other big shooters, Arc Raiders is not a AAA megacorp slop product with a giant team behind it. No, it's a game created by the Swedish game studio Embark Studios. Of course, it loses some points being Swedish, but oh well, we can't have it all, can we? Either way, the team consisted of ex-DICE industry veterans who set out to create something ambitious and large-scale. At first, this resulted in a cooperative PvE sci-fi experience, where players fought together to take down huge robots that were highly intelligent and adaptive. Though this ended up not matching their ambitions for the game since the actual gameplay wasn't any fun. Therefore, Embark changed direction and transformed the game into the extraction PvP VE looter shooter we know today. After a lot of hard work and long hours at Embark and 2 successful playtests under their belt, Embark was finally ready to push their capacity to the max, while also giving players a final chance to try out their game before release. And yes, I'm talking about the Server Slam. Being the largest last test, it showcased the game to the biggest audience so far, and gave thousands of players hands-on experience, including myself. Even those who missed it couldn't escape the wave of content. Streamers, YouTubers, and social media lit up with clips and reactions, making Arc Raiders nearly impossible to ignore. Anticipation snowballed as more and more people discovered the game, and those who didn't get to play themselves waited eagerly for the release. It was evident Embark had delivered something impressive here. Instead of following the cookie-cutter formula of modern shooters where you do no innovation on your own and only focus on maximizing profits, Embark focused on original concepts, quality, and fun. And the audio, absolute perfection.
Hey, Raider.
Don't shoot, I'm a friend.
You wanna split the loot?
unless you actually want to hear the person running full speed towards you, but nonetheless, it sounded fucking amazing. Combine that with clips of ARKs outsmarting and destroying players and showing that ARKs were a real threat. I mean, it's no wonder that people were hyped about the game. Oh, and I almost forgot about the best feature, the proximity chat. An endless source of entertainment. I mean, it's really only limited by the player's creativity, for better or for worse. There's definitely a good amount of players that shouldn't be allowed to speak, but I guess that's the beauty of it and leads to the truly magical moments. But now, after all the anticipation, all that remained was the official release. Launch day. Finally it was here. People waited anxiously with their scrappy body pillows under one arm while erratically refreshing Steam with the other. These people had slowly morphed into resembling a raider themselves from jamming out to too many of Lance's mixtapes. But that didn't matter anymore, only the release of Ark Raiders did. And holy shit was the launch great.
Chat, I'm not new to this game, by the way. Like, I am rushing the tower.
Oh, man. What is this thing? I'm literally getting ready to uninstall the game. I don't want to be shooting robots!
Dude, you're leaving me! You're leaving me! Oh my god! You fucking bastard! You bastard! What have you done? What have you done? Oh my god! If I die right now because you, Koshi, oh my god! I swear to God! Oh my god! Oh my god! No! What?
Lag. That's I got traded. You can quick maybe?
Just spamming through it. Yeah, I can, yeah.
Bring it back, mind you.
You shoot.
No, what do you mean behind me? Shoot him! No!
What do you mean, shoot him?
Come.
Lifing.
Body block him.
I got him! Oh my god! No!
Close. I shot.
This is like a like.
Oh my god.
I think we just lost.
Yo, Checky, you know what? I got you. You know what? I'm feeling happy. I picked this up off of somebody else. You have a good one. Watch out.
I'm with you. I think he's under me, though.
I'm
He's under me. Okay?
going in!
All right.
I made a mistake! Psych, I'm the best player to ever do it! I'm the best player to ever do it! Who do you think you are? I am! Who do you think you are? I am!
Some of you guys trade us while we go in.
We can't, wait. Don't.
I didn't yet. He's close to the door.
Okay. Then you got me a better player. You got me a better.
Yeah, right. It ain't gonna jump all the way over here. Yeah, see, look at the C++ program. It's going like, we cannot attack all the way up there, right?
Haha, you like that? That was a good one. Oh. Jeez. Okay. Chad, I fell off a long time ago. Is that guy right?
Those first few weeks were insane. Clearly Embark had done something right and had managed to create something special and unique that many players craved at the time. The type of player interactions in Ark Raiders would be impossible in any similar game, and for many people it was what sold them on it in the first place, being able to team up with complete strangers and put your trust in them, while creating memorable experiences together, while all that was stopping one from shooting the other was the mutual trust shared between one another. In addition to the player interactions and growing community, it was just good fun. The Ark themselves brought a breath of fresh air and were exciting to engage with and even avoid, because they were an actual threat that could get you killed if you were not careful or didn't know what you were doing. Unlike so many games where enemies are just a backdrop to the gameplay, in Ark Raiders they were front and center. So overall the mechanics and gameplay loop were just highly polished already, and people got hooked and loved what they were seeing so far. Besides, the launch went great, and the game actually worked on release. I know, crazy idea, right? The only real hiccup was when a max player count record was reached, which then overloaded the servers and led to a shutdown for a while. But I mean, that's not a bad problem to have, right? But even then, Embark showed their generosity by handing out in-game premium currency to anyone affected by the server issues. So not only was the game great, but the devs actually seemed like half-decent people, which goal was not to squeeze every last penny out of their player base like so many other companies, which is again shown by their decision to reduce skin prices as a whole as a result of community feedback, and refunding the difference in price to all the people that bought the skins before the change. But of course, all good things must come to an end, and slowly but surely the honeymoon phase started to disappear, as problems started to arise and become more prominent in tandem with the player interaction shifting towards competition and conflict as things went on. In other words, the beginning of the end.
Man, you know, this is too much. Like there's too many bugs in this game right now, man.
Chad, if you have a problem with the way I do things here, feel free to leave. It's not like I didn't try to like it. I've put 300 hours in. Now, last time I checked, you guys usually complain if I have an opinion about a game if I don't put enough hours in. I feel like I have earned my opinion here.
So what actually went wrong? First of all, the room glitching was atrocious. If you somehow missed it, players could basically glitch into locked rooms that you would normally have to find rare keys to open, but by just exploiting in, it removed the rarity and usefulness completely of the keys and the rooms. And there wasn't just one specific glitch or exploit. Oh no, there were several, and it seemed only more and more were popping up each day. So even though Embark in their patch notes claimed to have fixed the problem, a player at that very moment would reveal that not to be the case. And you can only release so many updates claiming to apparently have fixed the same problem before people start to get fed up and dissatisfied. We all know about the story of the boy who cried bug fix, right? And the players were starting to question the wolf's existence. Other exploits included people bugging themselves out of the map, but while still being able to shoot at people through the walls that were still inside the map without any risks to themselves of being shot. Then you had people killing the queen with a single blaze trap, not to mention the horrible double pump and spawn killing strats people were starting to do. Though people's frustrations didn't just concern bugs or exploits, but also the lack of communications from Embark's side when it came to informing the player base of future requirements and rewards, as with the expedition skill point rewards, which requires one to have 5 million coins in one's stash or currency, and was only announced right before the expedition departure window actually began, leaving players little time to prepare or grind for it. Then of course there's balancing, the bane of any online game with PvP. No matter what, someone will leave angry and dissatisfied. But that doesn't mean some changes aren't better than others. The first big balancing problem came with the Venator and Breach Lockers. To start with the Venator, it's a pistol that shoots 2 bullets with only 1 pull of the trigger, while only consuming 1 ammo at a time. This, in combination with the insane fire rate and lightweight of the gun, made it a no-brainer to use. Since it was better than any other weapon at pretty much everything, Arc, Raiders, close range, medium range, it didn't matter. Because of this, it got really bad, and basically everyone started using it, and was the only gun you encountered other raiders ever using. Though in the end, Embark did end up nerfing it and fixing the problem, which was great and pleased many from the community. The same story goes with the Breach Lockers, which was overtuned and completely removed the incentive of going to locked rooms when you can get better loot safer and more reliably by just farming the same route of Breach Lockers. Though of course, this change was not as welcomed by all as the Venator nerf, which makes sense since it was the final skill in the survival tree and you had no way of respeccing after the balancing change, so many felt that their skill point had basically been made useless without any compensation. Balancing is still a hot topic among the players and will probably always be, but as of now it mostly revolves around the players who feel that most weapons are too weak compared to the lower rarity ones. For example, the Stitcher, which is one of the best PvP items, even though it is a grey item that you can spawn with if you use a free loadout. And some of the epic rarity weapons underperforming and feeling weak even though one would expect them to be the strongest, right? The greatest disappointment an ARC player goes through is finding a Bettina blueprint for the first time. Now, all problems weren't just Embark's fault. A lot of the negative shift was also as a result of the player base changing. People no longer trusted each other like they used to, with more and more experiencing being shot on sight before even having the time to talk to the other person. But even worse was the ones using the goodwill of the community, which had been built from the game's beginning, to shroud themselves in a cloak of friendliness when in reality they waited for the other person to let down the guard and make themselves an easy offer. This was the biggest sin of them all. Dying to a PvPer fair and square was fine for most people, but being betrayed was different, since it harmed everyone's chances to trusting each other since you never knew who was just putting on an act, but to later just kill you when you weren't looking. And streamers. It's always the streamers, isn't it? Doing whatever the fuck this is.
Ready yourselves, Spogulators! Hungeness Legion are upon us with the full force of the South! They will hold nothing back, but neither will we! Give them nothing, but take everything! Tomorrow we shall break bread, but today we must break their spirit! Fight not for yourself, but for your Spogulators beside you! Ready your steel boys, and let's ride! Charge! Oh, Spogulators, we have arrived! We have arrived! There's a bastion! By the gods!
No one ever was with him. What do you mean?
Boys, I don't know if there's anyone to find.
Here comes another one right now. Venator out.
Ah!
He just threw a nade at his own feet to kill me.
Apparently Hutch just died.
He just got ran over.
Hell yeah! The Spogulators are out in numbers tonight, gentlemen! For the bloodshed! Jesus Christ.
But don't lose hope just yet. It's not all doom and gloom. Embark has been responsive and actively working on handling the problems and frustrations of the players. For example, the locked room glitch mentioned before, they managed to fix that by just turning every locked room into a death trap for glitch gremlins, burning them alive and leaving their loot as an added bonus for any raider getting in legitimately. But even with the frequent updates and fixes, there's still much to be left desired, seeing as people are still bugging out of the map and shooting people through walls with no risk of getting shot themselves. And people being spawn killed with no possibility of defending themselves just because a person was near them when spawning, sometimes not even intentionally wanting to camp them. In terms of balancing issues, they did nerf the Venator as mentioned before, which was a great change, but they also made some changes like nerfing the Hull Cracker, which the community was less pleased with, not feeling that it was really necessary and that it just made it harder for solos and people with less time to play to engage in the endgame content. Though overall Embark seems to be trying their best to do the right thing, and they have been super generous when it comes to people's time and money, as seen when the servers were down and with the skin price changes, so obviously to some degree they do listen to the community, but from the outside it can be hard to tell sometimes what they take to heart and what they ignore, since in some areas they're quite closed off to sharing their process and what's going on behind the scenes. And I just think that way more players would be happy if they just knew the reasoning for Embark's decisions. As with the 5 million currency requirement for the skill reward thing, if Embark just came out and said the reason for the delay was that they have a specific idea of how hard it should be, and because of that, they waited to make a choice to monitor people's stash value and wealth gather rate to set the requirement based on said information. Then I believe way more people would be receptive to the decision, since at least they know why it was done the way it was. But still, it sucks being punished for doing well, like when they suddenly increased the resource requirement for the Stellamantis unlocking event because people were donating too much too fast. Now, having been caught up with where Arc Raiders stand today, we can finally answer the main question: will Arc Raiders survive? Just before I continue, I just want to say thank you so much for watching all this way, and if you enjoyed it, it would help a ton if you liked and subscribed to help me continue to do what I love. Looking back at the first comments I started the video with, these comments are just some of the many criticisms about Arc Raiders that I've seen for some time, but also recently. And to some of you, they might just seem like baseless attacks perpetuated by over-emotional, angry gamers. And to some degree, you would be right. But what about those that are not? The players that actually like the game and have enjoyed many parts of it since launch and continue to do so. If these people are also a part of that group criticizing, then it's not enough to just brush it off and ignore it. Instead, the focus should be on what went wrong and what can be done to fix it, if it even can be fixed. And this is what is at the core of it all. Not embark kowtowing to the angry minority, but listening to honest criticism from the community as a whole. This is not an easy task, obviously, to know what is worth listening to and what should be ignored, though I think the survey at the end of rates plays a bigger role than most people seem to give it credit for. Of course, having a bunch of data isn't enough in it of itself. You need to interpret the information accurately, and first then can you make an informed decision. So, to answer the big question of will Arc Raiders survive, I would bet on it, probably. I think it will continue to have problems, but I also see Embark adapting and fixing those problems going forward, as they have already shown themselves being capable of. All new games struggle at the start, in one or more areas, and Arc Raiders is no different. So yes, I think it will survive, and do fine. But of course, nothing is guaranteed, and only time will tell. Oh, and Raider, remember, don't shoot.